The Age of Heroes is the first time we actually get names and stories of specific characters and historical events. Before this, in the Dawn Age, we just knew that the first men and the children were involved in this massive war and that they signed this pact. We had no names of their leaders, their gods, or stories of their history. We don't have historical sites where battles are fought or anything like that, just rumors of mythological places and certain real-life locations like the Isle of Faces, Moat Cailin, or Deepwood Motte, whose names must originate in the Dawn Age. This all changes in the Age of Heroes, though. As the name suggests, we get the backstories of many founders of the great houses of Westeros, as well as the story of the Long Night and the First War for the Dawn, and the heroes and villains of those historical events. Our exploration of this age will start in Westeros, where the founders of the great houses are living through the myths and legends that we know about now. If you don't know, these are supposedly the near mythical founders of the great houses and a little bit about what they were like. You had Lan the Clever, who allegedly stole the gold from the sun to put into his hair, and he's hoodwinking House Casterly by impregnating one of their daughters and stealing their castle, Casterly Rock. He is the legendary founder of House Lannister in the Westerlands. Then you have Garth Greenhand, the first of the Gardener Kings of the Reach. He's a bit of a Dionysus-type character who is known for using his magic to make the Reach so abundant in natural resources. Well, that and his raging libido. Let's just say that Garth Greenhand got around. There's Durin, who is also called God's Grief, out in the Stormlands, raging against sky and sea to build the mighty fortress of Storm's End for his wife, Elenay, the daughter of the god and goddess of sea and sky. And according to myth, he might have had some help with that task from Bran the Builder, who is allegedly the founder of House Stark. Now, Bran may or may not have had a hand in creating Storm's End, but we know that he was the one who built Winterfell, the seat of power for the Starks, the ancient kings of the north. And Bran was also responsible for building the Wall after the Long Night ended. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Anyway, Westeros is being set up to become the world that we know from the books, and there's relative peace in the land for some time. Unfortunately, this stable period is totally rocked by the worst disaster in history that almost destroys the human race. About 8,000 years before Aegon Targaryen conquered Westeros, the whole world was in the grip of the Long Night. Now let's talk about what exactly happened during the Long Night. So, the winter came and it was the longest, darkest, coldest winter in history. They say that it lasted a whole generation, as if there were people born who never saw sunshine or grass in their whole lives while this winter kept going on. Tons of people around the world ran out of food and froze to death because there wasn't any more food or even stuff to burn to make fires to keep them warm. To make matters 1,000 times worse, the others, this race of ice demon people, came from some place called either the Uttermost North or the Lands of Always Winter, and they just wrecked everything. Worst part is, no one knew how to stop these undead icy bastards. At least, that's how the others played it out in Westeros. It's not really clear what happened in Essos, but it was probably similar to what the others had going on in Westeros. These others were so badass that they rode around on giant ice spiders and undead horses, and whenever you tried to hit them, your weapon would crack and break like it was made of ice. Wherever these bastards went, they killed all the people they could get their hands on. And if you've watched the last season of Game of Thrones, you know what the others can do to dead people. Yup, they raised them into a friggin' killer zombie army. So they start killing everything that lived and turn them into blue-eyed zombies, which is clearly the biggest bummer of life for the people that managed to survive this massacre. And the more people the others killed, the bigger their army got. Now here's where history and mythology really get convoluted. Someone, maybe several someones, come out of the woodwork at this point and end the Long Night. every culture around Planetos, it seems, has a story of the long night, and every story ends with this mythical, sometimes solitary figure, called by different names, going to the far north and fighting the others. Somehow, this man ends the long night, maybe with help from the children of the forest and the old gods, or maybe with the help of Rolor, the Lord of Light, and a magical sword called Lightbringer. Or maybe he got by with a little help from his friends. Huh? You see what I did there? I'm just joking, I kid. Anyway, the story differs from region to region all over the known world, so who knows which of these details is real? In fact, we really can't know the truth because people in Westeros couldn't read or write yet, so no one ever wrote down what actually happened during the long night. Actually, I need to correct myself a bit. People could read and write in Essos, especially in places like Yi and Ashai. But they didn't share their history books with people from Westeros. So all that the Citadel and Maesters know is what they hear from traders and whatever scraps of books or scrolls from the Far East that make their way to Westeros. So if the people of the East somehow have proof or written records of any kind from this time, we have no idea, and neither do the people of Westeros. However the real story goes, it always ends with the others disappearing, either because they were killed somehow or because they retreated for whatever reason, and somehow the sun and springtime finally come back. When the long night ends, Bran the Builder Stark, the first king in the north, asks the children of the forest and the giants for help in putting up a massive wall made of ice and stone and magic to stop the others from invading their lands ever again. He also established the Night's Watch to guard the wall. And with that, we've completed our basic overview look at the Age of Heroes.